Welcome back to our episode of Your Life by Design. I just want to take this time right now to thank you for listening to all these episodes that I've been recording at this moment, right now, in true transparency. When the last time I looked at my numbers of how many downloads I've been with this podcast, there were 998 downloads, which means that by the time that this episode comes out to you, there's going to be at least a thousand listeners, or rather 1,000 downloads. And I just want to say thank you so much for you listening to this podcast and helping to grow my numbers and helping to broaden my reach with my message. If you haven't been following along since the episode number 2, I think I talked about it. This podcast is basically a recovery project of mine. I had broken my ankle in December, and I had decided that I wasn't going to sit on a couch and watch TV for 6 weeks. And it's funny, I was talking to someone recently and she's like, that sounds amazing. I would love to do that. And I'm sure, yes, maybe for a couple days that would sound amazing, but I guarantee you'd go out of your mind. And I wanted to protect my mind. I wanted to use that opportunity to just nourish my mind and nourish my soul and not be sucked into any conditioning or programming if I'm going to be like in a trance watching TV for a number of hours a day. So what ended up happening with the break, actually, I had a hard cast on for 6 weeks. So I literally was on my butt for 6 weeks. It was a bad break. So even if I were to get up certain times, the way that the cast would put pressure on my ankle, it would hurt a lot. So I wasn't moving much. And then after the 6 weeks, I had to wear a boot for another 6 more weeks with partial weight bearing for I think a week or 2 of that. So basically, like 0 to very minimal movement for 12 weeks, essentially. And I think in late December, early January, I'm like, you know what? I've kept telling myself I haven't had time to start a podcast. It was something that I wanted to do. And I just never felt like I had time between my speech therapy clients, between growing my coaching business and my kids and their schedules and just everything I had going on. I just felt like I just didn't have time. Like now all I have is time. So let's see what we come up with. And so it became like that recovery project where I came up with the vision. I knew what I wanted to talk about. I also came up with a launch plan. And I think it officially launched, I can't remember. I think it was either February. I have to go back and look at it. But it was either like February or March. I want to say it was in February, I think. And it's been something that I have loved doing. The whole creative process, it just felt so good. And looking at my human design chart, I've talked about human design before, and I've talked about just different aspects of my chart, or rather aspects of human design. And I think I've mentioned my chart as well. I know I've mentioned about the 1222 channel, which is connects your solar plexus to your throat. So speaking your emotions. Like for me, talking is very alchemizing, and it helps me clear my thoughts and help me think a little bit more clearly. And so this podcast for me is my ability to think more clearly, to be able to express different ideas and opinions and perspectives that I might not be able to do, like writing it out on an Instagram post, for example. But what I think is so cool is in my human design, so really quickly, human design, you have like the really big hitters in your human design chart, or part of the big hitters are your conscious sun and earth sign and unconscious sun and earth sign. And your conscious sun sign, I think I might have said earth sign in an episode a few weeks ago, but it's your conscious sun sign makes up like 70 to 80% of your energy. So whatever gate you have in your conscious sun sign, that plays a huge role in your life. And it also contributes, those 4 signs also make up part of your incarnation cross. So whatever's showing up in those 4 signs also play a huge role, especially that conscious sun sign. So my conscious earth sign is part of that gate 1222. And my conscious sun sign is gate 11, which is all about expressing ideas. So here I am, literally when I record a podcast, I am stepping into my conscious sun and earth sign, like a big part of what I'm here to do. And I find it so fascinating that my unconscious sun and earth sign reside in my undefined G center. G center is all about identity and direction in life and love. And I just came out of a 9, it ended up being 10 weeks, but it was like 9 interviews, like a 10-week project where I interview 9 women talking about making a change in their life and a change in a direction in their life and changing careers or expanding upon their career. And I'm like, hello, looking at my chart, I'm literally tapping into that G center. I just love that this podcast is a reflection for me of my human design and that element. And I think that's why I love it so much. So I want to take this moment to just celebrate the fact that this was something that I started because I had nothing else to do. I had all this time, and it hasn't even been a year, and there's been 1,000 downloads. And one could say, why celebrate 1,000? Why not celebrate 10,000? Like, why not wait till you get to 10,000? It's a bigger milestone. Like, why not wait till you get to the next number? But here's the thing. If you don't celebrate the little milestones throughout your life, the little achievements that you've made, right? Like, why would you even celebrate the bigger ones? From an energetic standpoint, you celebrate the little ones. It's basically showing the universe, showing yourself that what you're doing is a big deal and it needs to be celebrated, regardless of the number of that, right? Same thing of like, you get a paycheck, and showing gratitude for that paycheck and saying thank you for that paycheck actually puts you on an energetic pathway to receive more, because it's that energy of gratitude, is that energy of celebration that puts you in that same frequency to be able to bring more in. So for me to celebrate what I've accomplished already is putting me on an energetic wavelength to be able to celebrate bigger. And so if I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to celebrate the 1,000 episodes because, or not 1,000 episodes, 1,000 downloads, there's a big difference. If I'm not going to celebrate the 1,000 downloads because I want to wait until I get a bigger amount of downloads, then I'm putting out this kind of frequency of lack. We know the difference, right? When we're like, the difference of this is amazing, I love this, versus I'm not enough, this sucks, right? Or the difference of like, how come I don't have X, Y, and Z versus I can't wait to have X, Y, and Z. It'll be so exciting to have X, Y, and Z. One puts you in this frequency of, you can feel it, at least for me, I can feel it in my body, where it's like the frequency flattens. It doesn't feel good to your body, and one feels really good to your body. And that feeling good to your body is like a higher frequency. And so I want to map out that frequency of like an imprint, rather, that frequency of gratitude and celebration of what I accomplished so far. So first of all, because I'm so freaking like proud of myself and so grateful of you listening, but also to put me on that same wavelength to be able to bring in more, which it'll happen because I'm literally in my element in this podcast. So again, a short and sweet episode just to come in and say thank you so much. I have so many more things I want to talk about, especially with rapid resolution therapy that I'm certified in, and just continuing my training in it. And of course with human design, and I have other people I want to chat with and highlight their gifts. And thank you again. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and stay tuned for some more juicy episodes.